this is a false notion that India cannot actually compete with China. We can never compete with China with the current business system because the largest players in the land have absolutely no incentive to compete with China. It's much simpler for a large monopolist to simply have access to the Indian market and then bring Chinese goods in here. First of all, you have to change the GST structure. Second, you have to reward people who produce. Meaning we have to move from a model of GDP to a model of how many jobs are being created. Now, if we constantly talk about GDP and we are not bothered about how many jobs are created, you're essentially punishing the producer. You require a change in the national mindset. How many of you, small businesses, how many of you have access to actual capital? Can you even conceptualize a world where your bank loans can be forgiven? No. For you, if you take a bank loan, you pay. If you don't pay, you go to jail. But for an Adani or for an Ambani, you take a bank loan, you don't pay, no problem. You take another bank loan. And they're not in the business of production. They're in the business of trading. They are actually the guys who sell Chinese product in India. So we have to rationalize some of these things. Banks, sure, they have to support big projects. Sure, they have to support an Adani. Sure, they have to support an Ambani. Well, we can have 10 Adanis and Ambanis, 15 Adanis and Ambanis, 20 Adanis and Ambanis. At least it becomes more fair. And then also, we can open channels for people like you.
The next question, she's a startup owner of aromatics and from Jammu.
I don't see any hope in startup because of the lack of funding. And people from outside JNK, they come and they take our funding, which is our right. We are from JNK, we are not given any government jobs or private jobs this middle year. So at least leave some funding for our youth. Even that chances are given to the outside youth who come here. So I have applied to IIT Jammu also for the startup, but there is no talks about the grants. Because since I was little, I was proud that I am an Indian girl and this and that. But now I see India, I mean, within these 10 years of span, there is nothing left to be proud of. I mean, if my father had...
Well, I'll tell you what there is left to be proud of. No, I'll tell you. See, India is not the government of India. India is you. And what is proud, you have to realize, what is there to be proud of is the way you are behaving. Where your mother passed away, you're struggling, you're not getting the money, you have a dream, you're not sitting here and crying, you're not upset, you're standing and you say, okay, this dream is not working, let me do another dream. So India is this spirit. And this spirit is something I'm very proud of, you're very proud of. Right? Now don't confuse India with the government of India. There are two different things. Don't confuse India with the system that is oppressing the people of India. This spirit is the spirit that can take on China.
मेरे बहुत सारे clients हैं जो initially जिन्होंने registrations लिए, they were not aware कि क्या complication है और क्या complication they'll face. Recently, they received like notices, GST notices of around like 60 lakh, 80 lakhs. So they were like fully devastated कि वो उसको कैसे पूरा करें. Because उनकी पूरी capital से उस GST notice के like base tax, interest, penalty उसको pay करने में खत्म हो जाए. They were fully devastated. We have to find a solution जिससे हम like उनको किसी तरीके से help.
आपने पता नहीं ये देखा अन्नपूर्णा वाला? देखा आपने? कोयम्बटूर में? Did you see that? The guy is telling the minister that the GST is different for the bun and different for the cream. And अगर मैं बन और क्रीम को मिला देता हूं तो उसकी GST अलग हो जाती है और अगर बन और क्रीम को मैं अलग रखता हूं तो GST अलग रहती है और मैं मतलब अलग रखता हूं क्योंकि उससे मतलब कॉस्ट कम हो जाती है. Now this is ridiculous, right? And what is he doing? He is expressing his frustration. And what is the BJP doing? The BJP is calling him to a hotel, making him apologize, insulting him, and then viraling the video. Instead of saying, you are right. Actually, this is a foolish idea. This GST on buns and on cream, let's fix it, right? So it's the same idea. Ki, bhaiya, mujhe malum hai. I know everything. Please don't comment. You don't know anything. And this is the central thing in the culture of the BJP. And it's a difference between us and them. We are happy to come here. We are happy to listen to you. We are even happy sometimes when you're angry and you get angry at us and shout at us. We are happy to do that. It's our job. So the first thing, if statehood comes back, which we are already fighting for, and which we have been putting pressure on, and I'm confident that we will be able to force the government to give you statehood. We will run a government that is in the interest of the people of Jammu and Kashmir. Outside interference will be reduced. Jammu and Kashmir will decide its vision through its own assembly. And finally, if we come to power in India at the national level, we will remove this GST and change it. Right? I'd like to thank all of you. I'm sorry I could not spend more time with you. I would have much rather spent, 1 or 2 hours here.
NCR करंट न्यूज़ को सब्सक्राइब करें और नोटिफिकेशन सबसे पहले पाने के लिए दबाएं बेल आइकॉन।